Well, hello and welcome from wherever you are joining us in the world. I am joined today by Miss Marie, who is the founder of Human Next Level. She is an Enneagram coach for over a decade, if I read correctly, as well as a human design teacher. So I do believe we're about to get into a really fun conversation. How are you today?
I'm really good. Thank you so much. Thank you. How are you?
It's a great day. We actually got snow, which is strange because it's not snowed. And now it's March, and it was like, "Hey, what about right now?" So,
Yeah.
but I'm good.
I
It's
mean,
a
weather is
crazy.
just so weird. We are finally having sun, and I'm in Spain since a winter full of rain. So that's likewise very unusual that the winter has been so cold and so rainy. Like we had snow here in Spain as well, which is didn't happen for 20 years. So I don't know, like something is up.
Oh my gosh, it has been a
Yeah.
weird winter, but we will take a sunshine day. I'm glad you had
Yes.
one.
Yes.
How long have you lived in Spain?
So I've been here for just over 2 years.
Okay.
I spent all my 20s in Dubai. And then I went home after that. I became a mom. And then I went home. I got a divorce. And then I found myself. And then I was like, where should I go next? Because I don't feel Danish.
Uh,
So I have to get out and meet my people. And then I just felt I bought a caravan, hooked it on my car, and I was like, I'm gonna find a place in Europe. And then I ended up in Spain, most likely because it was the warmest country like of Europe.
yeah.
And so it felt like, okay, I'm still safe, I'm still close to home. And then I'm ending up with all this like coldest winters of 20 years and stuff. So now I'm like, where in the world should I go next?
Are you considering a next transition?
I think actually according to all the work we're going to talk about today as well, it's just like to always stay open to
Yeah.
possibilities and have the nervous system that can hold intuitive ideas.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, I always have a back door open or front door, whatever you want to call it. I always have a few doors open. And then the beauty
I
of
love
it is
that.
like enjoy your presence while you still have a popcorn brain full of good ideas.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited to hear more of those good ideas. Well,
Yeah.
I love the brief skim you just did of what brought you to Spain. I'm very excited to dig into that too. But I would love to hear a little bit about just like your current season. Like what all's kind of happening in your world right now? Like I know you've got the business. I know you are also unschooling. And I I just there's a lot happening in your world and I'd just love to hear a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think right now in my season, it's all about embodiment. It's
Mm,
like walking my talk, living my soul desires.
yeah.
And I think that's like for so many years, we've been fed all these um, you gotta have your highest vibration. You gotta follow your intuition. Just jump out and do your wildest dreams because you're gonna regret it if you don't. And then now comes the season, I think, like collectively of, but how the heck do I do that? Like I know all the things, but how do I do that? And I think that is as well where I stand. Like I felt for my entire life, like why are we not living together? Like
Mm,
why are we all sitting in a house? Like you make dinner, I make dinner,
yeah.
I put my kids to bed, the other one put a kid to bed. Like why are we not optimizing these processes?
Yeah.
And that has been a question for me like forever. And now I'm like, okay, time to do something about it. Let's
Mhm.
embody it. Let's embody all of these feelings
Yeah.
or ideas and all that. So that is the season for me as well. Like, why am I sending
Love
my
that.
kids to school? Like, I don't like them. So I better just take him out
Do it
and
yourself.
yeah,
Okay.
give give him the freedom.
Tell me a little bit about what like doing life together feels like. At least again in this kind of this current season. I totally agree that I think that there's so many ways that we as humans can be, just locking arms. Like what the life that we're navigating through is often very intimidating,
Yeah,
especially to go and do it
yeah,
alone. And so I think to find people who you're aligned with and say like, hey, I think we're headed towards the same destination. Let's just do that together. So I'd love to hear what
100%.
yours looks like.
Yeah, and I think community in general is like, I mean, so why we're not in community already, why we're not living together, I think because we don't know ourselves well enough. So the
Mm,
moment we get triggered, the moment fear rises, the moment conflict comes, we don't know. We have not embodied all our wisdom. So we don't know how to do anything different than just react with
mm,
our nervous system in survival mode, like we are so good and everything is so good, and then like ping, we're just bam down to the survival of being hunted on the savannah with a lion,
yeah.
and we are aggressive and we are shaming and we're all our ugly sides just comes out, and then it all breaks down, and then we hate ourselves afterwards, and we're like, I don't want to know of this side of myself, so I better just not go into the relationship.
Yeah. Or suppress that one. Like,
Yeah, let
don't
me
need to bring
suppress
that
that.
out
That's
again.
not me. I don't want to go there
Yeah.
again.
No, that's so real. And I love something you said at the beginning of, how deeply do we know ourselves? I
Mm,
feel like something that really changed the way I view other people and through a bigger lens of compassion is that I believe that people can only meet us as deeply as they've met themselves, and vice versa, right?
mm,
Because there is so much like that. There's a lot under the surface, and it's like if we're
yeah,
willing to continue in those depths, there's a lot of beauty when you start loving the hard stuff. So I would like to
exactly.
go ahead with what is what's unschooling like in this season of your world? I'm so
Um,
curious about unschooling.
it's very, I think, because you're sitting in the States, and I think it's very different in the States than what we have in Europe. And
Mhm,
a lot of countries in Europe are still like very demandingly deciding and controlling, and authorities are very
mm,
strong. They will come knock your door and be like, your kid has to go to school or we're going to jail you or take your kid away. Where I know you are way more entitled to do whatever you want, and like you're even getting paid. I've heard some states pay you to actually
yeah.
educate your kid yourself. And I am luckily from Denmark, where it's legal to homeschool your kid, but you still have to like teach them, and they will look after what you've done
Mm,
every year, which I think is fine. So I think it's like I am not like I'm not homeschooling, I'm unschooling. And there is a difference between I've never had a class for my son. He's 8 now, so it's like according to Denmark, he's been in school for 2 years.
mm, okay.
And according to their like structure and stuff, it's like he's supposed to be reading now and a certain level of math and knowing about the Stone Age or whatever. I don't even know what he has to know actually, because I have never taught him anything. So the only thing that I see is that the brain is getting that development itself. And if we dare to stay curious, our brain wants to understand these things by curiosity, which is internal motivation, because suddenly he's meeting a new friend that speaks Spanish, and he's like, how the heck do I say if you want to play? Okay, now you're having a really strong
Wow.
motivation to learn
Yeah.
how to say that in Spanish. Or like he want to account something, or he wants money. Okay, let's
Yeah.
have a talk about how are you going to earn money, your age, like what are the resources. And I think for kids to be around adults, some adults, I'm not saying that unschooling and homeschooling is for everyone, because it takes a lot of patience. And I think it's like I'm referring to, usually when I talk to people, that if you are unschooling or homeschooling, especially as a single parent,
Mhm,
your children, and those who have many,
yeah.
um, that's the real deal. I mean, I have so much respect. It's like if you're dealing with kids' nervous system all day, then you are already a queen,
Mm,
because it's like you will never have a job or a boss that is that unregulated.
wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like it's a lot about following the kids' own intuitive curiosity, and then just feed them that. Because being around an adult all day long that can answer all the questions, And nowadays it's so easy, you know, like all the things I'm learning as well. It's like, oh my God, yeah, how does the clouds actually work? Oh, there are different clouds. Let's watch this YouTube video or something. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, oh my
Who
God, that's
knew?
so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Um,
is something that, like, you learned about yourself through unschooling that you really weren't expecting? Because it sounds like you had kind of a general idea of like, "Hey, this is gonna take a lot from me." But what was something that's kind of popped up throughout that you were like, "Wasn't planning for that one?"
um, I think actually the biggest challenge for me is that I'm having a boy. It seems so weird, but it's like because he's a boy and I'm a girl.
Right.
And it's like, how do I support him the best? What am I supposed to tell him?
Mhm.
Like, his dad is not around the corner to like have private conversations with him or like physical whatever for his gender and all that. So I actually think that is the most like, do I tumble enough with him? Am I rough enough? Is he supposed to
Sure.
be experiencing more roughness that because he's masculine, or is it okay for him to be so soft and cry? And of course it's okay that he cry, but you know, like am I feeding him all what his masculinity also needs? Like I gotta bring a lot of masculine energy out in myself to be able to mirror that in him. Like I don't have zero interest in fighting, and I just have to pick that stupid sword up and fight with him. And I'm like, that is the most challenging
Okay,
part.
love that. What's he, like, really into right now? Like, what's so curious in his world?
um, oh, he's such a sweet kid. Like I think because he has me as a mom, he's very aware of the social scene and personalities and like energies going on, like reading the room, understanding what people are trying to say. And now we are co-living with another solo mom and her daughter. And according to the Enneagram, it's like, so her daughter and I are very like fast types and like very bold and loud. And then
Yeah.
my son as well, but he's a feeling type. So he's way more, he has his soft side, which the other mom as well is having. So it's really interesting to watch these dynamics. And then this little 5-year-old girl, like bossing everyone around. And then seeing my son, like, he's very curious to understand her. It's like,
Mhm.
why is she screaming? Or why she's hitting me? Like, she could just tell me that I don't like this or I don't like that. And I'm so proud as a Enneagram mom to be like, oh yeah, maybe you don't know yet how to divide things in math, or you don't speak, you can't read yet, but you are able to read a room. Like you are able to look behind another person's behavior with curiosity. And I think that's like, where do you learn that? For sure not in school.
No. Well, and I think this is such a large part of a conversation of where I get so excited about the time in history that we're in, which is that, like, this idea that soft skills and the ability to really connect and relate with humans is about to be the most premium tier of our kind. Is, like,
Yeah.
it's not, can you process data at a computer? It's,
Yeah.
can you connect on a real human level with the person across from you? And so I think that was a great example of, like, I love the idea of schooling being more led by curiosity than curriculum, and I don't know that I've ever heard it explained like that, so I really do appreciate you diving on it.
I
How
mean,
does
I think I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing in the journey, and I would not say that he will never go to school. I actually thought that we're just gonna take like I actually thought that we're just gonna take a year and then we're just gonna go with the flow and see what happens. And then I'm probably
Mm,
gonna find a school because how am I gonna survive? Like if I'm with him all the time and he possibly need all the social because that's what they feed us to think that kids need their social activities every day, otherwise they get insane and they get weird and lonely. So it's kind of like I'm just following the flow, but he really doesn't like he doesn't want to go. And he's like anxious to be like, but why would I not want to be with you? Like you are the one supporting me and you're the one helping me like understand. Like he's still cuddling my hair, and this is his way of regulating his nervous system. And I think it's so beautiful. It's like you are actually connected intuitively with what you need in order to calm your nervous system. And you're never having like never having night terrors anymore, which he had like every single day when he was in kindergarten. And for me, it's like, that's just a no-brainer. Like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but for sure I'm doing something right now, according to like being his mom, and trying to give him the space and listen to him. And then maybe in 2 years he would ask me like, I want more friends, so I want to go to school, or like, okay, fine, let's try it,
Right. But again, the open door policy. Like right
Yeah.
now, this feels good and is working, but
Yeah.
we're open to the perfect resolution. If in 2 years, like I love that it's just. I think that's probably the coolest part of all of this is that it just remains an open conversation, and that's I think something that not near enough parents have with their children. It's kind of a
Yeah.
scary thing, especially when there's so many societal pressures, even just around school, right? Like that's one
Mhm.
example. But to come home and not even being able to regulate or process all the social situation that is happening
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
And then, how was your day? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't
It's like,
know.
how was your day? And we gotta make dinner and go shopping
Right.
and everything. And it's like, I got 5 minutes to just look you in the eyes, and then it's time to bed and time to shower and blah 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 blah. So it's like,
Again,
yeah, and then
yeah.
again. So
And
and we cannot even do that. Like adults going into work, it's like, oh my God, I had a meeting today. I'm bummed in my head. I just need to like zoom out. I just need to like listen to meditation music and be in the forest for 3 days. It's like, I think we're overloading kids so much. So definitely, I mean,
wow. How
yeah.
does your work like influence the way that you school? I mean, I'd love for you too to speak a bit to kind of like the guiding North Star that led you to this work. I was really moved in that, even just in what I've heard of it. And I'd love to hear kind of just your side of the story of how it got introduced and how it's influencing kind of this current season.
So I mean, I am not believing anything else in the world than myself and the Enneagram.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't have any strong religion. I don't believe in like one God, or like, I believe in myself, and I believe that we are all entitled to have whatever we want in life, and we are all born perfectly good, and we are all coming from a good heart. That's what I believe. And I think when I met the Enneagram, I was having a relationship with my kid's dad, and we were married, and he is in the Enneagram a type 4, and I'm
Mhm.
a type 7. So he's just very emotional. I love to explain type 4 as the soul with two legs. It's just like there is no shell, and there is not so much logical brain happening. It's like they are so pure. And that's also their wisdom. What they're here to teach us is like, we gotta just be honest and authentic, because that's the pureness. And if we dare to be that and be vulnerable, we can meet each other soul to soul.
Mm.
But the moment we put layers on, the moment we put our brain into work, that's when all these manipulative thoughts and small hooks comes on the thread. Like we're not 100% pure anymore.
Mm.
Um, but you can then imagine how difficult it is for type 4 to navigate this world, because they are just being taken advantage of over and over again. They're being made wrong for being dramatic and too emotional, and they want something that's not realistic, and they have to wake up and go to work even though they don't feel like, and they're asked not to be authentic because that's a luxury. So a lot of force, they also end up having addictions or very like difficult trails, and it's difficult for many of them to deal with this world. So for me it was like, what the heck is going on inside of you? I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand how you're functioning, like, because I'm a logical type and I have a lot of like action, a lot of masculine energy. He's like 99% feminine energy. And I'm so masculine in terms of my power and like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I do it before I even think things through. So I was just like, what is going on? Like, I can feel you. I can feel that you have such a beautiful intention, but then you just end up destroying everything. Like all your chances, you're destroying things for yourself and for me, and everything we built up is just like suddenly you're just gone for 3 days drinking,
Yeah.
And that was really where the Enneagram took a whole other level for me, because
Mm,
I knew the Enneagram, I've read about it,
sure.
being these like personalities. And okay, if you're type 1, you like to have structure and you like to be right. And if you're type 2, you are super caring, and if you're type 7, you're just here to have joy and you don't like to deal with any emotions. And so then I started like looking into this type 4, and I was like, I don't buy the idea that they're just dramatic to be dramatic. Like, what is behind their need to be dramatic? Why do we view them as dramatic? Because I know a different type 4 right here in front of me. And I don't read that anywhere. I don't read anyone writing what I'm feeling in this type 4. And then I started like seeing that there is something behind all of our mask that the people are seeing us, and that's judgments. Like, it's judgments that we are reading when we read the types. It's like that's how the world is viewing us according to who they are, or how they don't have capacity and motivation about how we function or what we're here to deliver to the world. And then everything started making sense for me. And I was like, okay, so this is type 4 and there's 8 more. I got to dig into this. This is so interesting. Like, how are we not understanding each other? Because this is a whole roadmap for us to then connect with everyone, with anyone that we meet. We're actually able to connect with their core instead of just with whatever they're saying because they're triggered somewhere. Yeah,
No
exactly.
Got to get to the goods. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of need for understanding kind of led this charge of like, there's more, and was the accessible path in that. Do you feel like most Enneagram types have like kind of similar to the 4? Like we humans, we love a silo. We love a box. You are a 7? Great, box. Got it. Thank you. Would you say that for most of the Enneagram numbers, or do others feel like pretty hard on sleeve, like correctly kind of like talked about? Like what's kind of your feel there?
So I think we all have equally brilliance to bring into this world. But I think the society that we have created in different eras are serving different personalities. So type 6 and 1, they thrive in this industrial area that we are stepping out from, but they have built it. And they are the ones with the rules. Like, we need type 1 has put a lot of structures into place. Like, how can we make a law system? How can we have a police system? How can we have like all these systems, school systems that make sure everyone get an education? No one is left in a house with abuse. Or type 6 making sure that communities are built and we are including everyone. We're not leaving anyone. We're not judging the homeless over the millionaire. They're equal. But then, for example, so I just believe that with that vision and all the understanding that we have of what should be right and wrong, or you got to have a better vibration. So if you're not having a perfect day, then you're not in a good vibration. Like, we don't look at the person that is supposed, like, how does your vibration, high vibration, look different than mine? Because they don't look the same. Because what you are here to bring to the world is not the same what I'm here to bring to the world. So we can compare and we cannot share our strategies.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
How would you say the Enneagram and the human design exist together? I very recently learned what human design is, and I'm very on the skimmed part of understanding what my actual human design means. And so I'm so curious to hear like how they interact together.
Yeah. Well, do you know what human design you are?
I think I actually have it pulled up like right here. Let me find it. Okay. I am, my Enneagram, I am a 2 and I think wing 3, something like that. Tell me if that's actually stated. And then my human design is that I am a manifesting generator, emotional authority, and 6-2 profile.
Okay.
So I don't know what any of that means.
I know everything now.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so your question how they overlap or compensate or help each other, I
Yeah.
think if we look at human design, it's energy. It's like how are we functioning energetically? And as energy, we can use that information of how to, for example, structure our day,
Yeah.
how to, like, where should I look work wise, in which direction, where you cannot find these details in the Enneagram. A type 2 could be a lawyer, or a type 2 could be a caretaker, or
Yeah.
a policeman. Like it doesn't tell anything. A type 2 could wake up early or be a projector and have a nap every day, but they're still type 2. So where the Enneagram doesn't tell anything about the energy, it tells something about your patterns or your survival instincts. So it's like, what are you here in the world for? Like, what is your highest potential? What are you here to lead the rest of the world to understand and to try experience the world as? And how are you trying to protect yourself? Like, how do you keep yourself alive? So they're two very different systems.
Would you say, like, as kind of a synopsis version of the Enneagram, would you say that it's kind of our base code? Like at our core programming, these are the patterns we revert. These are the familiar knowns that feel always safe to return to, good or bad.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I like to explain the Enneagram like layers. So
Okay.
I believe, and the Enneagram is an open tool, so everyone can do whatever they want with it. Anyone can tell whatever they want. I believe that we are everything in the Enneagram. I believe that we are all the types, but we have one type that is our core, that is holding our highest potential and deepest fear. So yeah, I do believe that that the Enneagram is holding our purpose and how to optimize our daily life. We can get that information from human design. However, there is a lot of people in human design that are seeing the same information. If they dig into all the little gates and channels and
Yeah.
active centers, they would somehow come up with the same information as I would be able to tell from the Enneagram. I just think the Enneagram is way more simpler. And because we can group people a little bit, then the charts in human design, they're always different. Like you will never find anyone with exactly the same gauge, you know? So for
Wow.
me, it's like, I don't need to see all these details, then I just move over. So I just want to know, like, are you a projector? Are you a manifestor? Like, to get an idea what kind of direction are we in here, are you,
Yeah.
and in the end of the day, I think we only need these systems because we don't know ourselves. So I just need validation. Oh, Marie, you're a projector, so you're not supposed to work a full-time job. You're way too intense for that. Oh, okay, so everything I felt my whole life is actually true. But
Yeah.
if I would just have trusted that, I would never have needed to get that information. I would say like, oh yeah, sure. That's why I've never had a work. Like I've never had a job.
Yep.
So yeah, I think they're good until we get it, and then we can kind of like leave it a little bit and freestyle with our intuition.
Love freestyle with your intuition. That's a great line. Um, yeah, it's been really interesting. I think especially like I really align in what you said of like, like you're too intense for a corporate job. And it's like, yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
It's brutal to need to like feel like there's all these rules and like containers again that we have to kind
Yeah.
of like exist within and not be able to be out in truth. And
Mhm.
so I think when people come in and are beginning kind of working with you, is there kind of this like, do people often feel like there's something wrong with them? And are they seeking some sense of just deeper understanding to kind of alleviate that pressure from themselves? Or kind of what do those conversations sound like?
I think it's very important. This is also why I love the Enneagram over human design, because in
Yeah.
human design you're locked down to being your, like, I'm a projector. I cannot wake up and say like, today I need to be a generator because I have something I want to achieve. Where the Enneagram is more like, okay, I'm a 7, but I'm gonna enter a really hard conversation and I need to find my inner type 2 because I need to have a little bit of peace and
Sure.
a good listening ear, and I got to calm down. So it's like it's a brighter way of just seeing yourself as everything. Like you have it, you have just not integrated, you have not embodied that part of yourself yet, but you are everything. There's nothing you can't do. So when people come in, and if I have that perspective, how can I judge you for anything? I can't judge you for nothing, because either you just don't know what to do, and you're probably already judging yourself for the whole world. You're probably already aware
Yep.
that you are doing the patterns again. And so who am I to not say, you know what, you're loved no matter what? Let's just try to figure out which type do you need? Like who should be embodying you? What do you need
Who do you
to?
need to call on?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's a really beautiful way to look at it. I think something that I really appreciate in your perspective is that of very much just it is so out of love. Like there's not a wrong one, right? Like eights, I feel like gets such a rap of like eights are so intense and they're
Yeah.
bulldozers. And it's like I've really enjoyed the idea that, they're either bulldozers or they are snowplows, and you're either in
Yeah.
behind. And so, but we love a spectrum. I think humans love to be on either end of a spectrum.
Mm.
This is very good or this is very bad, where the reality
Yeah.
is that most of us typically existing somewhere in here on this. And so the idea that we can be kind of in our home, like my 2 home, your 7 home, but then be like, hey, I really need some 3 right now. Like, come
Yeah.
balance this out. Like, that makes a lot of sense, because even within my own being, it's like, well, this is what I do. This is
Exactly.
how I operate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just unlocking some kind of freedom, like for ourselves to not, we don't have the excuse of saying, oh, that's not me, or I can't do this, or because, and so it forces us into this kind of responsibility of, oh, now you are stripped naked, you don't have anything, like you gotta be vulnerable and then figure out that part of yourself, and that is requiring embodiment. Because when your 3 kids is shouting in your head and you are shouting back and you're hating yourself for it, or you see your cycle in your business going around and you keep doing what feels right, but you just see yourself failing and not making money or whatever. It's like you are then not lost into, I need external help or I need external people to tell me what to do. It's like, okay, I know where to look within myself, or I can look in the Enneagram and just take out this manual. Okay, this is how type 6 is working, and I really need that kind of structure to succeed in my business. So how do I do that? How do I embody that myself, in from my perspective, from my core type? How would that look?
Mm.
And then you can actually do that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Have you helped people work with, say they run a business and they're really strong, 3. And do you say like it would really, like, after working with them, like you would really benefit from working with a, 8 or whatever it is? Like, is that something that, like, can the Enneagram do that? Like, is it blanket enough to say, like, oh, cool, like, here's where you're really strong. A great balance in your passion or your mission would be X.
Yeah, but I think it's individual, because it's also like, so imagine that we have the layers, and the layers closest to your core would most likely be your parents types, best friends types, because you know them in and out, and you are probably needed to be a little bit of that to be fully loved.
Oh my goodness, that's interesting. Okay,
And
so
then
like there's
the
an
higher,
accumulation of
yeah,
your proximity.
yeah. So the
That's
higher you
crazy.
go in that hierarchy, in the top could be people that your parents didn't like and they talked bad about, or personalities that you simply just don't know.
Mhm.
You have never met these ones, you don't have any experience with them, so you're blank. You don't know they exist. So you do want eventually to include that, because that is what you're missing. That is why you're going in circle with whatever you're going in circle with, is because of these types are not integrated in you.
There's a true unknowing. I don't know
Yeah.
how to handle X situations because I don't know the systems required. to exist safely in them.
Yeah.
That's
And then, so if you want to run a business, it could be smart on the paper to have that type taking care of these things, but these are also your biggest triggers because you don't know them and you still have some shadow work or you have not embodied them. So you don't see them as part of you. So it's like, you don't want to go like too high up and get like a team of people that can do anything you can, because then it will be a lot of clashing. And in the other hand, you don't want to find exactly the same as you, because then you sit with two golden eggs and the rest is just dark.
Wow, that I must tell you, that feels like an egg crack open to imagine like this idea of emulating, because like our proximity is everything, right? Like the people we spend our life around. But I feel like that base code of like, growing up and like even back to just the relationship you have developed with your son, like, oh, that just makes me so happy for both of you that level of safety and like just trust is so foundational in your home. And that, he's not going to grow up and be like, well, I didn't even know how to communicate with my mom. I mean, what more could we be working towards than just transparent, true communication? That's so beautiful.
And I think even as adults, it's even worse, because friends, like kids might have friends that are also kids, and kids, they're a bit more open because they don't know yet how dangerous the world is. They don't know how much you can get hurt if you're vulnerable. But for adults, it's even worse. It's like you get so ingrown into who you are and your identity, and then you never really find the safe space, because for you to have a safe space to go explore these other types require a person that is not getting triggered on you exploring. So it's like that person got to have a nervous system or an understanding. So in the end of the day, I don't believe certain matches are better, but equal nervous system capacity is what we need to look at.
The ability to bounce off, like observation over absorption. Like, can you look at this and just say, wow, that's what you're moving through? Or is it like, I have to be down in that with you?
Yeah, because if you want to integrate type 8 and I don't have type 8 integrated myself, I will feel the triggers when you try to integrate it. And I think this is the bigger problem. It's like, especially our age group, we are not self-aware in our fear systems. So when we really get triggered, we still go with our trigger patterns, even though we know what to do. And afterwards, we feel ashamed and we don't want to share that with anyone. And we know that if we go share it with our best friend, they are just going to code judge us, because they're like, yeah, why did you do that? Because they also don't have these abilities to like just see things from outside or be detached to the emotional experience.
And then instead, each time we do that, it's like add another layer, another layer, and like it's so built out of like, this is just how I operate. I'm so ingrained in this pattern of, things can't get too close. And so the further out we push it, it's like the more normal it becomes.
Exactly.
That is a great way to look at it. Wow.
And then it comes back to the same thing. We do I believe that if we do a survey, 90% of people do actually want to be in community or do want to co-live, but they don't know how because of that. So they don't know how to be vulnerable. They don't feel confident in, like doing that kind of close relationship where it's like, you're going to see me scream at my kid and you go hug me. Like, can I trust that you're going to go hug me and you're not going to look at me like, oh,
meet on that level and
calling social security.
Right. Wow. That right there, this, the fear of being like unlovable, like, wow, you've seen these pieces of me. How'd that land for you?
Yeah.
You still love me. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you work much with couples?
So I'm just relaunching everything, because I've been like traveling with my son, and now that I am co-living with a mom, it's finally time for me to like have time for myself. And my son is still having a great day even though I'm here with you. So before I had my company, I did group sessions. I've always been a huge believer of this community, and I really like holding space. So I had like online or in person, like in-person events are just magical, where they would come to my house, like
Yeah.
10 people at a time every 3 weeks or something. And then we would just sit and have these kind of deep conversations. People would have the freedom and the space to actually share their shame and
Yeah.
share all the things, like all their deep patterns that they are having and observing, but they don't know how to deal with them. And even listening to other people sharing, we mirror everything, right? And most of us are having the same internal experience when we go through our fear patterns. So I did that, and then I had as well private clients where I love to work with. Especially at one point, I like to work with diagnosis because I don't believe in them. So it's like people being diagnosed with ADHD or OCD or something, and then it's like, oh, you're just a type 4. Oh, okay, let's work that way in, and then suddenly your diagnosis is gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, so I've been working a bit with that, but now I'm back with the communities. Like I really just want to create these communities and hold that space where we dare to walk in naked and then just be held, with
Yeah.
love.
Wow. What about this relaunch feels different than your last business? Like, what do you feel you're bringing differently?
I think definitely my understanding of how to use the Enneagram in it is way different. Like I'm having so much more wordings available. I've written an Enneagram book lately, actually, like a short 72 pager. And I think the perspective that I'm using on the Enneagram is way more hands-on, or it's giving the ability to actually embody it. It's like, what should I do with the knowledge that I'm good at finding solutions? How
Yeah.
am I a leader with that? How can I lead? How can I invite you to understand my world? Like, how can I trust that world myself and even lead with it? It's like we have so much potential, but what are we going to do with it? Like, how should we do it?
Right. Well, I mean, the knowledge is one piece, right? Like this
Yeah,
understanding is kind of like we got to get base layer. We need an
yeah,
understanding of how we operate. And then this idea of like, okay, cool. Now you're educated enough to know what your base coding of like, these are your patterns. Here's
hmm,
how to work with them. That's kind of what feels bigger this time.
yeah, definitely. Where
Very
before I think I did it a little bit, but I didn't have the same wordings. I didn't have the same structure. So
sure.
I think it took longer to reach to the point, like, or at least it was internal. When now I'm way more into like we got to lead with this, like, oh
Mhm.
my god, we're here to change the world, all of us. And only when we all step into this leadership within our own type and really own it and understand that no one else is ever going to feel the same as us, then we can become a unit. Like I need you to walk into your type 2 leadership, and you need me to walk into my type 7. And when we meet there, without the judgment, without the comparativism need to compare,
Yeah,
then
keep the ego out of there. No room.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or imagine that you can come in and you're like, I am so triggered right now because I want to sit in this deep conversation, and all you're coming with is like solutions how to get me out. And then I'm gonna say, you got me right there. Okay, what do you need? And then as a type
Yeah.
2, you're like, I know actually what I need, and I also feel brave to say it. I need you to just hold my hand and give me a hug and listen to me cry for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually able to do that because I know that I'm not going to die, even though it
Yeah.
might feel so.
Yeah, just the clash of the operating system, but not to be met with frustration, which is, like, no, this is not how I want to spend the next hour, but
Yeah,
compassion. Like, wow, if I can hold this space for you in this time, we both walk away at a higher level of operating.
exactly. Or me, usually it would be like I would start arguing with you why it's not helping you or getting you anywhere to just sit in the feeling and crying. Like, and then, oh, I also don't want to hold you. So I can give you a little finger, but then you already feel rejected, and then you
Yeah.
already feel guilty about taking the space, and then
Yeah.
everything is just rolling the wrong direction.
Right. And
So
then we're back to layering up.
yeah,
Don't do any of that.
and
Okay.
feeling alone, and feeling like isolated, and feeling that the world don't get me, and I don't really have any relationship, or I even have a husband, but I can't even have a conversation with him because I feel he's not listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's real. It's definitely been, I'm grateful to have a spouse who I believe is also a 7,
Oh,
but definitely
fun.
a very like systems minded, like, there's a problem, I can fix it.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It's like, no, I don't need solutions. I need to feel it. And so it's
Yeah.
funny to hear you speak to it that way. I think another really neat part of just like, kind of this idea that we can all be so empowered, but also in our own power and like just grace, right? Like I think at the end of the day, like what
Yeah.
every part of this world needs is considerably more love and more grace for ourselves
Yeah.
and for each other. And so it's so easy to get behind anyone who's speaking that message from such a profound lived experience. And I think in addition to what I feel, you explained very well kind of what's different in this relaunch, but I also want to just offer a bit of maybe just appreciation for the journey that brought you to this chapter
Mm.
of your world, because I think it's beautiful to hear you speak so in truth right now, and what it is you're bringing. But that in between period, right? Like I loved hearing about when you did put, you'd never camped before and you put on a caravan.
Yeah.
Those experiences reveal a lot. And so I
Yeah.
you're bringing so much of just your own rawness. And I think there's such power in that, because again, we can only feel safe enough to meet at a level that we've met ourselves. And so
Yeah.
you hold that so evidently. And so I think just wanted to appreciate you and thank you for doing that work, because without it,
Oh,
we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this conversation, and you definitely wouldn't be leading in the way that you are. So just thank you for being willing to step in. I call it embrace the suck, and just look that nasty piece in the mirror and say, like, okay, I do see you.
yeah.
We'll go ahead and move through that together.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's so beautiful. Like I dealt with my fear yesterday, and I deal with my fear way more often. Like beforehand, I would go through a lot of things, but hard conversations that it's so funny to see. Like, and this is all development. It's like before you get there, as you're saying, like you cannot see it before you see it.
Yep.
So you don't know. And what more frustrating than someone telling you from outside, it's because you need to do this. It's like, I can see it. Like, I don't feel it. Like
Yeah.
you're not you don't do me a favor here. You're not meeting me where I am. You're just telling me that I'm wrong, and now I feel even more wrong because I can see it. But the fact that we can then look back, and then we can laugh, and we can be like, oh my god, I would totally recognize how back in the times I would just send a message saying like, I think this and that is happening, so I'm just backing out, bye. And now I'm like, okay, I had a conversation in an hour. I shared my heart in a very delight and graceful way. I really tried to explain. I hold the space for the other person to say something. I felt throughout the whole hour that I was just gonna throw up or something, because that's how fear feels. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, I was like, we don't have to decide anything today. Let's see, let's sleep on it, and just I'm so proud of myself. It's like, and once we do that kind of work, it's like, oh my God, like now I feel empowered to do whatever in life. Like,
Like,
okay, throw me any kind of situation and I can deal with it.
yeah. It's
Um,
collecting proof. Am I a person that I can trust to show up in even a hard situation?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is also another thing that everyone is saying all the time. You got to learn how to live from inside out instead of from outside in. And it's like, what does that even mean? Like, yeah, I hear you, but that's possibly the most difficult thing to do on
Right.
earth in a lifetime.
Yeah.
But this is how it feels. This is what it is. It's like when you're able to trust yourself so deeply that nothing from outside can shake your core. And this is a powerful place to be. It's like in that moment, I'm in control of everything. It's like you don't give your power away. This is what
Right.
it means. It's like you can tell me right now that Marie, your work sucks. I don't get it. The Enneagram is not true. And I can be like, perfect. I mean, that doesn't change
Yep.
my view on it. I'm not doubting it.
Right.
It's just not for you. You
Yep.
have something else. You have something similar that you believe in. Good for you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, oh, that right there is one of my all-time favorite pieces, which is that like we're all on a map trying to find the same thing, which is self-understanding and acceptance, right? But there's so much of like that gets caught on the journey. Like we're
Mhm.
all headed to here.
Yeah.
But once we silo again on this, like only the Enneagram is correct.
Yeah.
Nothing else can lead you there. It's like maybe
Maybe something else can.
right.
Yeah.
It's all additive, right? Like I think there's no need to be like only anything, right? Like
Mm.
it's an abundance mentality of there is addition in each piece that we learn from each one. Like I love working genius. I don't know if you've heard that one about that kind of framework, but it's one that's really helped me like frame and how I show up in my business. And so like I just think that there's ways to pull from so many. And I love that even though like you have found like such clarity and have such belief in this one, it's also there's no restriction. It's not
Yeah.
again, no judgment. There's curiosity over judgment.
Exactly. Yeah, and if the person doesn't want, like the client that I had for the longest with severe OCD,
Mhm.
it was like I don't think he ever understood that he was a type 4. I just spoke the language of type 4 and it resonated, but he didn't have
Mm,
capacity. He was like, I'm pretty busy already in my mind. I don't have capacity to learn a system or understand how the type 4 operates. So it's not because you need to understand something. It's for me to know how I can stay separated from you. So it's like for me to understand, oh, you're type 2. You identify yourself with your core as being type 2. Okay, now I understand how your pattern is working. So now I can speak to your patterns instead of I
mm.
can support you in that. But if you call it the one or the other, I don't care, you know?
Yeah, I
So
can't imagine
100%.
how liberating it must feel to hear a language that you have been searching for spoken to you as well, like from
Yeah.
someone with such a deep understanding of like, man, you really get me. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is what I do. This is the core of what I can do. It's like Lisbeth that I'm living with. She's also type 4. I have a lot of type 4s around me.
you
And
must be very
and
safe for type fours.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here to help them like step up, you know,
yeah.
and dare to be so different. And then one day she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start a business. I don't understand. Like, what am I here for? I like this, but it's not like, oh, it's not really hitting the core. And then I'm just like, okay, explaining how the type 4 world exists in its deepest core, like its purpose. And she's just like, I didn't even know that this was it, but you hit the core. Like I didn't even have words for how can you put words on my core? But it's the feeling that I'm having that this is what I want to do. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like that is what the Enneagram can do for me. This is how I can
Mm,
use the Enneagram. So and you know what? Like I heard the other day, which I really liked, someone talked about when we are expanding our nervous system, it's like holding more than one truth. It's like we're expanding the idea that how many truths can happen at the same time. It's like it's like when you move away, even just to hold two truths at the same time, that's already expanding. That's already changing the world,
yeah.
right? But it's like imagine that your world is exactly as valid and real for you as my world is for me.
Yep.
But so we don't even have to discuss it. We don't even have to argue. If we just can be curious, like, oh, could you is something you see in your world something that could benefit my world too? Or
There's so
but
much. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
but just to accept that there is more than one truth, you know?
Right. You, it's always yes and. Like, no, you're wrong. Not, they are not wrong to
Yeah.
them. It's, yes, I hear you. And
Yeah.
my perspective,
Yeah.
it's just a difference of values. And I think too, like there's a gal I listen to pretty consistently in a podcast who has a pretty big like personal brand and often is like attacked from people with different value systems. And
Mm,
they're just like, you're not feminine enough and you work
mm,
and she's like, yes, yes, that is true. You are correct. And I know that I'm doing that because it supports this value system that I
yeah.
hold. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very there's a respect to be held in that, I think, too, of
Exactly.
there's no wrong other than, you know, not no wrong. But in this
Yeah.
instance of you can have your opinion and I can hold mine in the same level of respect.
Yeah, and I think that work itself is also some big embodiment deal. It's a big deal too, because it's like, again, it's not like, oh, so the ones that are holding one world is wrong. It's like, yeah, but you're limiting yourself. You
Mm,
are limiting yourself by having like limits on what can be true. So it's like the curiosity becomes a rigid system because you don't feel confident in feeling your own. So you gotta hold on to the one system because I don't feel connected to it. So the less I'm connected to myself, the less capacity I have for other reals.
mm,
So I think it's interesting. I always have the saying that the person I wanna have closest to my life is the one, if I come home one day and I said I murdered a person, I want
mm,
the person to make me a cup of coffee or tea and say, okay, let's sit down and talk about why would you want to murder that person. Like,
mm.
tell me why you did it, instead of coming like, what the heck, are you insane? It's like,
Yeah.
what is the reason? How desperate are you if you need to go to that extent? Like, what has happened prior that? And I think that is the capacity we need to be able to hold to each other. And when we can do that, we can live together. And then we can optimize our resources. We can share our resources. You can earn on the money. I can teach all the kids the Enneagram.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
No,
I
yeah.
think that's the new world.
I am here for the new world, a world of deeper understanding and bigger compassion, and all encompassed in love that's the one. That's the
Yeah,
one I want to exist in. I
yeah.
Is this a lot of what you're speaking to in your workshop next month? I know you have one coming up, but I wasn't. I'm not. I would love to hear a bit about it.
Yeah, so I'm having a workshop on so basically I'm having a workshop on Tuesday. And I like in the beginning I was holding it because I'm opening up my first circle of a 6-month journey program where we're going to integrate all of the Enneagram types and all what we talked about in a small intimate circle where we meet and we go through all of the steps in the development. So we want to trigger fear so that we can do the work, so we can
Sure.
embody all of these different types. So initially, I wanted to hold a workshop to do an introduction for that. But then I had a talk with Jessica, and she's like, oh my God, it's a big deal here. Like, the war is happening, and all these like things are changing, and people in the States are really concerned because food supplies are going to run out in September, and there's no like farmers are really pressured because they don't have the fertilizing, and all of these things are happening. So it's a whole other thing. It's not just there's war. Am I gonna get bummed? Which is not a just, but it's not just that. It's
Yeah.
on top of that. Like, do I have food in half a year? Like, where is this world going? It's so crazy. And it just hit me hard. And I was just like, my son is half Palestinian.
Mhm.
My ex-husband is in Dubai. And, like, I'm already having all this like fear in my own system
Yeah.
about what's going on. Am I going to get a call one day that someone is in a hospital? Do we need to go to Dubai? What will happen? Like, the Middle East is going cuckoo now. So I was like, I got to talk about that in the workshop. I want to address that because it is, how do we expand our nervous system to have capacity for that kind of fear? It's a whole other, it's not just my son is screaming for 2 hours now. It's like life and death, like we're
Yeah.
triggered out of this world. And so I think it's important that we talk about that and that we look into the Enneagram, or at least I have some insights that may be helping or maybe calming or making an understanding of where to even look in what direction. Like finding that kind of understanding of our own fear. Why do I fear what I fear? What do I do about it? I lay anxious at bed at 3 a.m. every night. Like I wake up with all these nightmares about what can happen. What can I tell myself? How can I help myself when I lay there alone with my fear? And that begins with understanding what our fear pattern is trying to protect us from.
Wow.
So I do that on Tuesday. I want to talk a bit about that, how it looks differently from all the types.
So this Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. Wow. Okay. I think a lot just of what you spoke to landed. I think there's so much unknown right now, and unknown is already very classically intimidating, right? Like we don't know what to expect. But then when you take out this idea of, any sense of control, because the part of our conversation where we establish this level of self-trust, and it's like, I do still trust myself, but I have no control over, who starts a war with who makes a move. There's such this sense of, there's nothing tangible that one can grasp. And so what does creating safety in our own bodies look like when it is so outside of ourselves, yet so directly impactful to people, whether they're close to us or not? Like we're all the same species. And so the idea that there's people being harmed or, just unsure. There's an energy of just fearfulness. And so I think that's very powerful, that kind of the conversation is being moved around. Like, what does rootedness look like in a time of absolute unknown?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's also what we don't talk much about. Like, I think the world now has two directions. When this pressure comes on, it's like we either try to hold on so badly to what we know, our structures and our vision of viewing and what have worked in the past. We hold on to making more money, because if I have money, then at least I can save myself and I can buy an island somewhere where I can be safe. Or we go in the other direction, like I need to find peace within myself because I don't want that external influence to outpower me like that. Like I don't want that external source to rock my world that much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would you say that Tuesday's workshop is really made for those people, the ones who are feeling just like such a considerable amount of pressure from things that they can't really influence, but simply must kind of exist within? Would you say that's who would land the highest with?
I definitely think it's the ones that are curious to understand, why do I take this in so much? Why am I triggered so much by this? Like, why? Like, because I will go through the fear. I will go through how the fear looks for different types and how we can ask ourselves questions, or how we can help ourselves. Obviously, it's just a workshop. So it's like I just have like 90 minutes. And there's 9 types. That's the only downfall about the Enneagram. It's like 9 types is so much. But I will try to just go through all the 9 types. So at least we can find 1 or 2 types that are resonating, and then have 2 questions that we can ask ourselves to try to choose our higher self and distance ourselves with our pattern, which seems to be real in the moment, like our fear pattern, to be like, okay, I'm aware that this is just my fear being activated and it's not real. And I have something else to tell myself instead of just going in circles in my head that this is the real world. So yeah, I think it could be good to just get a perspective, maybe, if you get a lot of cycling going on.
I mean, story is everything, right? Like what we shape in our mind is the reality we create in very real life. And so this idea that we really can become so conscious of what it is that we are truly speaking into reality, I think this offers such an incredible baseline of just what is your base? What are these pieces that no matter what, you're going to move through the world with these things?
Yeah.
So beautiful. Okay. What else do you have upcoming? if anything else, like right now, I think the workshop sounds like an incredible kind of entry point for a lot of people. But is there
Yeah.
anything else that's kind of circulating in your world right now that you've got upcoming?
No, I am 100% on for these community things. Like, I don't want to have individual coaching sessions because I feel it is embodiment and I feel it's community that we need. There are so many people teaching all kind of things that we can anyway find on the internet. And I think we are over the era of knowledge.
Mm,
I think we need to move into the era of daring to walk into the room naked. That is where embodiment happens. It doesn't happen behind the screen in knowledge, understanding, Googling. It doesn't.
ah,
It happens when you just show up and you know that I feel like I'm gonna die, but there's someone that's gonna catch me. So that's the only thing. I just want to start these circles and have like, I want to bring this authentic closeness, like a
mm,
different story of, okay, it actually happened. These people did not freeze me out, or these people didn't judge me. These people actually have the capacity to listen to my internal judgments, and shame and
and
everything. And then, yeah, and just be projected of all the goodness that is in you. Like, most of the time, the way I'm seeing the Enneagram is like, your fear is connected with your wisdom. So it's like there's a reason why you have the fear, because that is your wisdom. It comes from your internal longing. Like, imagine if you're going for, your wisdom is here and you have an internal longing that the world should be a place where everyone has, if you're type 2, it would possibly be something like that, everyone in the world can be with each other and just listen and hold space. We don't have to give good advices. We are just paying like devoted attention.
mm,
Like, you are there and you're allowing the person to feel whatever they want to feel, and you're just there with them. They're not alone. So this is the ideal longing for a type 2. And then the fear is abandonedness, like that loneliness. So it's like there is a reason why this fear is happening. And all your life, because fear is not really a great thing, you're choosing things that are just next to that longing.
mm.
Because then if you fail, you're like, but I still have a reason to
Didn't
live
fail that
because
bad.
I still have my purpose. But
Yeah,
we don't want to go after our purpose, because then if I fail, I could go kill myself, because then I don't have a purpose anymore.
right.
And what we don't understand is that when we work with our deepest longing and our fear, we cannot fail, because this is our soul. Like, we're not going to fail. There is no option B.
Yep.
There's only an option A, and then you continue until it works.
There's only truth. Like if
Yeah.
what you move in is what you know is meant, you can't miss it. There's
Yeah.
not, and there's not a reality in which when you move in full truth in that direction, that it goes wrong. You have to
Exactly.
redirect it and learn,
Yeah.
or you land on the purpose.
Yeah. And if we do feel that we are failing in something, or if we see ourselves giving up, it's because we're not walking on the line. We're walking next to the line. So our soul is like, no, not really for me. Like, I'm
Right.
not going to give that extra effort because it's not really what
Ah,
I'm here for anyway.
wow.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I must just tell you, you are a most beautiful being, Miss Marie. I
Oh,
have
thank
very
you.
thoroughly enjoyed hearing you speak so in your passion and in your truth. And I was also going to tell you that I love on your website that place where you can go and kind of mess around with the different Enneagram types. And
Yeah.
if anyone's listening and is curious about like what Miss Marie like is speaking to and like kind of what, to hear the language of like, yeah, that's me. There's a great taster of that. I thought that you guys did that so well on the side of
Oh,
getting a
nice.
general feel. So I just really wanted to thank you for the time and the conversation. If there was anything else you wanted to talk through, I'm more than open, but I just a lot of gratitude for the time.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the things. I mean, I can just talk nonstop for days and months and years about all of these things. But yeah, I think it's been such an honor as well, and I love talking. Like, it's the best thing is just when you find like-minded people that are in the same nervous system vibration, and then to have conversation, like, you understand what I'm talking about, it resonates with you, and I think that is the greatest feeling. It's just to be mirrored and received. So it feels very great that you're just receiving me, you're understanding me, it makes sense for you, and I'm giving you something. So yeah, thank you so much for holding this space.
Oh, a genuine gift. Anytime. It was you're a really wonderful being to hold with. I think that what you're out to do, I there's not a lot of missions that speak straight to the betterment that we can be of humanity that
Mm.
aren't ones that I want to align and link arms with. And so if there is support that can be offered in whatever comes in the coming parts of, your business or just this journey, like I just look forward to continuing the conversation because I am
Yes.
pumped to see what all is just in store for you and Human Next Level. So just thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you, really.
Well, until next time, you have the best rest of your day and we'll ideally chat again soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.